are scored on how they introduce new points, if they challenge a position of another student, if they back up an idea, if they have additional evidence to back up a point that's already been presented.
One of the major things that I looked at was Islamophobia.
If you love kids, you've got to do what's best for them. You give the parents a very positive experience with their children, and they want to do things like this more often. They become more a part of the school and the school community, and that's really what we're always seeking to do.
The students who want to have a future in farming typically love this program. Our students who work on farms love this program, and then just some of our students who want to go into the environment get involved in some of these programs.
You can eat it.
Hands-on tables rotate.
I was close before.
For the past 2 weeks, we've just been studying and stressing and like practicing our presentation, and like it got real in the past 2 weeks.
Hello and welcome. I'm Sean Spiller, the host of Classroom Close-Up New Jersey. A few weeks ago, we kicked off our 25th season. It's a milestone, certainly. Well, that same year we first went on the air was also the beginning of an annual event, one that focuses student attention on the importance of our natural resources. So later in our show, we'll bring you the 25th Envirothon.
I think it's probably a sugar maple.
But first, in a society shaped by the insular screaming matches on social media, speaking and listening skills seem more important than ever. We're heading to Montgomery High School, where students are practicing the art of discussion.
Welcome to AP US History at Montgomery High School, where the pedagogy is unique. It's discussion-based and student-led.
The benefits of teaching this way really is the student engagement. They are responsible for their learning. They get to discuss it, they get to analyze it, and do it with people who can give them feedback on it. And that's, I think, a better way to learn than me just telling them, here are the facts. The kids prepare for the discussion. They usually have a discussion question that then they outline an answer to, and they present it, and then that leads the discussion for the day. And so I score it as they go. So today we are on the impact of 9/11. I believe Michelle has prepared our DQ today.
I wrote the DQ, so you get the question and Ms. Murphy gives you like textbook pages to look at, and she also gave us like articles and videos. So you sort of formulate your outline. So I split my DQ up into foreign policy and domestic security. So for foreign policy, I said, in the aftermath of 9/11, the US government altered its foreign policy by employing military force, economic weapons, and diplomacy to respond to the growing threat of terrorism.
They are scored on how they introduce new points, if they challenge a position of another student, if they back up an idea, if they have additional evidence to back up a point that's already been presented.
One of the major things that I looked at was Islamophobia. There was a statistic that showed that anti-Islam hate crimes were 5 times more prevalent after 9/11.
If they're quoting a piece, or if they've obviously brought in something from outside that they're using, then that gains them points as well.
The controversy that comes with the Patriot Act is usually seen as the argument between civil liberties and domestic security, and how citizens are giving up their rights to privacy.
If everyone only reads what was assigned, then the conversation gets a little bland. So a lot of the time people go out and we research other things that we think are interesting.
I read an article in the Chicago Tribune. It was actually pretty old. It was like in 2011, but at that time, a federal judge actually found that 2 specific provisions of the Patriot Act were unconstitutional infringements on the Bill of Rights.
I made a couple points about abuses of the Patriot Act, and those cases were found because I went home and I researched cases where the Patriot Act wasn't as useful.
A couple examples that I found were Brandon Mayfield. Because of mistaken fingerprint identification, they entered his home without a warrant and copied 4 computer drives and took 10 DNA samples.
The students are definitely more engaged. I mean, they have to be.
This axis of evil.
Is it the people bringing it on or the government?
Violations of civil liberties.
They have to be prepared. They have to be ready. And you can see they love it. I mean, they're happy to have that responsibility, I think.
The key points of the Patriot Act document Ms. Murphy posted on Google Classroom yesterday, there were 2 points which really stood out to me. The first The first point of which essentially established that the United States government, they were allowed to profile any possible individuals, specifically men, either of Middle Eastern or South Asian background. We do have a tendency to have very distinguished opinions, and there have been some times where we are able to meet in the middle, and there are some times where we have not been able to meet in the middle.
Maybe the more scared Americans get of terrorism, the more okay they are with human rights violations as well.
The U.S. often commits human rights violations when it takes these actions in the Middle East, and I totally agree, especially in places like Iraq. And a lot of the involvement in the Middle East is disregarding these human rights, but I disagree with the idea that the particular instance of Syria very recently was a violation of human rights, as the Syrian government had already violated human rights with chemical weapons.
Despite our personal beliefs or differences, we're extremely respectful and courteous and being able to, I guess, advocate against the differing views of the historians in our class.
These military abuses of power are kind of similar to the events during the Vietnam War.
I think a lot of the way we look at history in our class that I think is different from other classes is how we always try to make an effort to go back to other periods that we studied and make connections between them.
It's really interesting that you see this continuity in history about how there's this really large increase in domestic security anytime during a war and the suppression of individual rights. So you saw sometimes it gets really heated, so we get into some arguments sometimes over philosophy and everything, but I think we're usually pretty respectful of each other's ideas.
America is becoming more and more blatantly focused on itself, whereas before it tried to conceal it by stating that they were coming in with the moral aspect of it.
I completely agree with you, and I just like to build and say that this probably comes down to the fact that maybe in the past, such as the Philippines, the citizens...
A lot of these students, as you saw from the discussion, really are involved in looking at what's happening today and the politics that are going on today and having real opinions about it. And then they advocate for change, too. These are really a group of leaders committed, I think, to improving their world. At least that's my hope.
High AP test scores are just one of the benefits of the discussion model. Students are more engaged and interested and likely to continue speaking and listening when they're at home, where discussion is a great way to bond with family.
Welcome to Tulsa Trails Family Science Night.
3, 2, 1.
These second and third graders are combining science, family, and fun.
You need force to make it move, but you know what kind of simple machine it is?
On several nights throughout the year, these teachers invite family members to come in and work on various science projects.
The overall goal is just for kids to discover, problem solve, have fun, and be able to do it with a family member to make a special memory.
Can you circle the one that you think will go the fastest?
And thanks to a grant from the Frederick L. Hipp Foundation for Excellence in Education, these families can spend some quality time together while learning.
They can bond with their parents, they just get to come and it's just them, and it's a quiet, small group environment.
The Street Hockey Challenge measures which kind of puck travels the fastest.
I bring her to a lot of the science nights because I know how important science and math are for girls.
So the community has a street hockey league, so we thought, wouldn't it be cool if the kids got to try out different types of pucks and sticks to see maybe what would improve the local program.
Would you add the brown sugar? No.
We have the cookie challenge, which is to see if they can make a better cookie than the cafeteria gives to them right now. We also have Earthquake Challenge. We also have Rocket Challenge, the Playground Challenge, to see if they can build or design a playground that's better than the one we have. They use Legos and magnets, and that's a fun one too.
They would wheelchair up here, and then they could go in here, and there's this little play area down here, so they can play.
We were thinking Ninja Warrior, the climbing wall and the zip line.
When our families come in and we get to interact with them on a fun level where we're doing projects, we're doing experiments, you know, that builds a different relationship than just coming in for parent-teacher conference time or, you know, making phone calls home. It provides a different kind of relationship that we can build with our students' families.
3, 2, 1.
We really had a great time together. Neat seems to take a real interest in science, and so do I personally. So I think it's a fun thing for us to be able to do.
This is the teachers completely sacrificing their own time just to do something that they know is good for our children and for our community. It's great that we're all on the same page that way.
I think the whole idea of the science night is pretty interesting. Getting to come here with her, spend time with her, and then also getting to see and kind of connect with some of the teachers. Get to meet and get to know the people who are with your kids all day long.
Sometimes it's hard as a parent to just let them take the lead, but with these kind of activities, we let them take the lead and we kind of just help them through it. And then we're learning together with other families.
Can you show me a closed circuit?
Closed would be like...
Very good. Excellent job. We really wanted to give our families a night where they put their devices down, where they spend time together as a family, working together to create projects and to solve problems. So it's really a science night, but a family bonding time as well.
And what are we testing, the earthquake or the structure?
The structure.
Ah, and who designed it? Ooh, there was a big bump there.
That's what cream means, so it makes it all nice and smooth and soft.
As I walk around or I see the kids involved in these activities, I can actually see them working through the science process. And you'll get to see the parents think like kids again. It was a long time ago since they were in 2nd and 3rd grade, and you get to see them kind of relive their childhood. And there's that special bond there when it's just them.
I know it's difficult during the day for parents to come in because they have to work and they have obligations that they need to fulfill. So by having something additional at night, it's giving parents an opportunity to come into the classroom where they might not have that opportunity during the day.
If you love kids, you've got to do what's best for them. And what's best for them is prioritizing education while they're here. But on top of that, we recognize the importance of the family unit. We recognize the importance of creating connections and partnerships with those family units. On top of that, kids are seeing that this is important to their parents. This is meaningful. They often, absorb that mirror image and project that onto themselves. You give the parents a very positive experience with their children, and they want to do things like this more often. They become more a part of the school and the school community, and that's really what we're always seeking to do.
Nice shot.
Next up, stories that surround us with the beauty of nature, right after this.
Besides making friends, what do you want to do?
To help out people.
You want to help out people? Good, good. Make friends, help out, that's what we do.
18, 19. On behalf of my school, my students, my administrators, and my parents, I just want to really congratulate Classroom Close-Up for amazing accomplishments over the years, for the last 25 years. And you've done so much for us, and we're just really appreciative for all of the episodes that you've highlighted for us and all of the community building that it's done for us.
Congratulations to the 25th anniversary of Classroom Close-Up and Envirothon. Yeah!
We have the animal station here. We have baby goats, we have baby sheep, we have adult goats, adult sheep. Over here we have a miniature pig, and he's the most adorable pig I have ever seen in my entire life, so you're really gonna like him.
Today is Barnyard Day, and this is something that students look forward to all year long. Our preschool and early elementary students are going to become a farmer for the day. They're going to take a hayride. They're going to plant a tomato in the greenhouse. They get a lot of exposure to different transportation and agricultural equipment. They get to see a robot as well as see a whole variety of small and large agricultural animals, from chickens to cattle to horses to rabbits and cavies.
Well, the goal of this event, I think, is dual-fold, because not only does it get the students from the elementary program up here to see what we do at North Warren in terms of our agriculture and FFA departments, but it also gives our kids a chance to showcase themselves. The kids who have animals, who keep animals, who work on farms, they love to bring their stuff here, and they look forward to this day to have the kids come and see what they do.
I think this is an important event because it really lets kids come out and see what goes on with agriculture, all the equipment that comes in, and like some of those machines are really cool to look at.
This is your PTO that spins everything behind you that you're working with, that you're doing your field work with, okay?
These tractors came right out of the field. There's grass and mud right on the tires, and this age group loves this kind of equipment. We also have an antique corn sheller, which the kids find really fun because it's right at their eye level and they're able to turn the crank and old school take the kernels off of a corn cob. So they like to see where agriculture's come from as well as where is it going.
That's kale. It's another type of leafy vegetable that you can eat.
Students enter our program in an exploratory cycle in middle school, and then they can take a foundation course their freshman year, which ranges from food to energy to natural resources and environmental science to animal and horticulture pathways. And then from there, they can specialize in what they're most interested in animal science, environmental science, horticulture, and then advance from there, preparing for careers in the science, the business, and the technology of agriculture.
This year I am taking animal management, and it's basically a class about managing animals and breeding cycles and how to sync them all together. And hopefully I will major in equine business.
The students who want to have a future in farming, but I would say more high-tech farming, typically love this program. Our students who work on farms love this program, and then just some of our students who want to go into the environment get involved in some of these programs. So it really is a program that's been here for a long time. We're trying to get more students interested as it moves into the, let's say, the next generation of farming so that we can get a greater number of students in it. But yeah, it's really successful here at North Warren.
So this is a Californian. His name is Lewis, and this rabbit is bred for meat pen. And then over here we have a mini Rex, and it's like really, really soft. Next we have a Angora rabbit. The breeders will take them, put them on their laps, and spin the wool, and they'll spin it right off of the rabbit. So you'll get the Angora right off of the rabbit, just like that.
Future Farmers of America is a long-standing organization that promotes farmers and their work in our county and across the country. And our ag program is tied tightly to it. A lot of the curriculum is taken from the FFA program.
I became part of the agriculture program because my grandfather was part of the FFA, and we live in such a rural area, so getting this opportunity really helps kids to take the skills that they have maybe at home or maybe working on a local farm and really putting them to use. It's a great program here, so if support your local FFA programs because we're really doing a lot, and we're the future of agriculture, so without farmers there's no food.
I want to ride one of these. Well, I want to ride the big one. I want to ride that big tractor.
Having a barnyard day like this, it brings a lot more awareness to everything that all the farmers do for us. Like when it comes to the animals, it teaches kids how to take care of them, what we do.
We sold chickens, goats, horses, llamas, and a bunch more. I like the chickens because they look very cute. We went into the greenhouse and we got the pots and we made the plants and stuff. And then we planted it. Why are you eating that? You're eating your last one!
Everyone knows basics like sheep go baa. They all know that. But really lets them actually hear what it's like and really let them see what they look like and what they feel like, and it's just a lot of fun.
Happy 25th anniversary, Classroom Close-Up. Cheers!
The saying goes, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors,
We borrow it from our children. We're all breathing Earth's air, sleeping beneath Earth's trees, eating food that wouldn't be here if not for Earth's soil. Some days it's easy to forget, even ignore. Well, these young people are seriously paying attention, and that's good news for all of us. In fact, since 1994, thousands of students have competed in the New Jersey Envirothon, a natural resources problem-solving competition that challenges environmentally aware students with issues affecting our wildlife, waters, and forests.
An increase in VOCs, pesticides, and nitrates.
This year is a special year for the Envirothon.
Classroom Close-Up has featured the Envirothon a half-dozen times during the past quarter century, and this year shared the anniversary by spending the day with two teams. Students from High-Tech High School and first-time participants from Shallock High School.
For the past 2 weeks, we've just been studying and stressing and practicing our presentation, and it got real in the past 2 weeks.
New Jersey has such a range of environmental conditions from one end of the state to the other. To emphasize this variety, each year the location of the Envirothon is different. This year's location is Camp Grice, about a 15-minute drive from Shallock High School.
This is all kind of where they grew up and all that they know, so it's hopefully helpful for them to be here the first year too, in their backyard.
We're in an urban school district. They're born and raised with the New York City skyline in their backyards. A lot of our students don't get an opportunity to travel outside of the county.
Well, some of Shelley Witham's students have ventured beyond the county and the state.
Yes, we have been to nationals.
That's right. There was a stretch not long ago when High-Tech High School won the New Jersey Envirothon 3 years in a row, sending them to national Envirothon competitions. We asked this high-tech team what motivates them.
The competition.
If you heard s'mores, that was a nod to camping out the night before when students get to de-stress a bit. But back to the more serious answer.
The competition, I guess.
Yeah. You want to win. I mean, come on.
You want to win, you want to learn.
We have 6 different stations that the students participate in. There's a half-hour testing at each station. There's 15 minutes usually a hands-on, and then they rotate and do a 15-minute written test. First one is aquatics. In aquatics, the students get to identify a lot of macroinvertebrates, insects that you find in the water that are going to tell you how healthy that water body is.
That's nitrogen.
Hands-on tables rotate.
From there, they go to forestry. They may be looking at an individual tree with a Biltmore stick, trying to decipher how many board feet they might be able to get out of an individual tree if you're going to market that tree for timber. They're doing a lot of identification, disease and insect control issues, because we do have a lot of issues now coming up throughout New Jersey with invasive species and things of that nature. Next, they go on to wildlife. They have skulls, pelts.
This is number 4.
They maybe listen to a frog tape or bird calls, and they have to identify what that animal is.
It looks platy to me.
Then we go on to soils, the geology portion of the Envirothon. The rocks, the minerals, measuring the soil for texturing to find out what type of soil it is, if it's a clay soil, clay loam soil. So they get to work a lot with the minerals and actually getting dirty and into the soil pit. You walk on the ground all the time, but you don't really realize, a lot of people, what's below our feet.
Which animal type would be ideal for a farmer that wants to raise 30 individuals within a pasture?
Next, we go into current issues. They may talk about global warming, pollution problem that may be coming up, how that's affecting the different animals or the aquatic system. So they cover a little bit of everything that's going on locally and globally. And one more, we go down to the team presentation portion. And this year's theme is New Jersey pastureland and western rangeland and managing diverse views. So with that, the students will get a presentation scenario. We post it on our website, the Envirothon website, the Monday before the event. It's their responsibility to go out on the website, pull that information off, and get to present a program to a panel of 5 judges.
I really am proud of them and just how much they've learned and just how well they're just so nice to each other too. Like they're just nice kids, and they're just so like happy and just eager to learn, and it's just been like a really, really, really good experience for me as a teacher to see this other side to it instead of just teaching, and just having this learning experience, but also having fun with learning.
How'd you guys do?
I think we did well.
Yeah, I think we did
well.
really good. Really good.
Certainly forestry was pretty good.
Yeah, forestry was
better than usual.
We have like gotten to a point where it's just like it comes to us. Just,
Yeah.
So which one has a higher this compared to that?
You look at the kids and you see the enthusiasm in those students. It's a unique experience with dedication.
I hope that they get more connected to the earth and care more for the future to try to take care of our planet and just be better citizens of the earth.
I hope the students that are involved in this program are actually become some of our future leaders. We thought it was a great opportunity to get involved in the field and hopefully get those students to help out the future generations.
It was a pleasure to meet these young stewards of the environment. If we are to continue living here together, we really will need to protect our natural resources. And that means learning how to work with each other, to talk, to listen, and to take care of each other. After watching this episode, we hope you share our optimism for the future of our planet. If you missed any part of this show, please visit the video library on our website. Remember to follow us on Facebook for updates. And join us next week to see more inspiring stories from our great public schools. For Classroom Close-Up New Jersey, I'm Sean Spiller. See you soon.